back to the Battles in Behind the Desk show. We had a little bit of technical difficulties last week. Happy to be back with you this week. I am Ingram Smith. This is simply a platform to allow us to interact with our fans, members, and supporters, and hopefully be able to give you as much information about what we do as a collective, how we work in the NIL space, and then also we will periodically bring in guests or other people that we think may be of note to you, the viewer, or that may have a particular unique perspective about either their experience in NIL or the opportunities that NIL have brought into their life. So tonight I have a really special guest, Rob DeLoach, father of Kalen DeLoach, will be joining us in about 12 minutes or so, maybe a little bit shorter than that, to give us his just an update on what he is doing in life, some of his communications with former players and or players of parents of former players, excuse me, and then also an update on what he's doing in life. Rob is always one of the coolest and chillest guys, for lack of a better term, but also at the same time always busy, always doing interesting stuff, and was fortunate to be able to talk to Rob earlier today. So with that, we'll go ahead and start tonight's show. I want to point out 60 days until Florida State kicks off against Ireland. Maybe it's a little bit of a misperception that it rains all the time in Ireland. Not so much, but it is a little bit of a chillier atmosphere than that of what just the normal Florida State fan may be familiar with. So we'll continue to bring about some new merch, some merch that's particularly tied to the trip in Ireland. But we'll always want to point to that on the horizon, that this doldrum that is the summer is only so far, only so much left of it, and the kickoff in Ireland is only so far away. It's going to be an incredibly exciting season. Mike Norvell has said that this is his fastest team he's ever had, maybe the most physically gifted team that he's ever had, and it's just going to be an awful lot of fun to be a Florida State fan, and just kind of a great time in general to be a Florida State supporter. We will continue to bring you kind of up to speed as summer workouts continue to progress, and as the team gets a little bit more formal in their preparations. But it's just a really exciting group, and we'll have tomorrow night's show with Max Moody and current players on the roster to continue to give you guys, the Florida State fan base, a chance to better know both the players and to get an idea as to what they are going through as they prepare themselves both for the first game in Ireland, but also from a broader perspective, the season as a whole. As far as any questions go tonight, let's see, we got anything that immediately jumps out at you, Kev? So Brett Taylor asked a question about when you can contact an athlete and the earliest date that you can have an athlete sign a contract. Brett, those are both great questions. On number 2, I will get you a solid answer next week. Obviously, that there's more and more states that introduce high school NIL, and that's going to change things as far as when kids ultimately start to work within the space. But I don't know that that'll necessarily change things for us immediately. Always have to make sure that you're going about working in this space in a deliberate manner as possible. Laws, rules, bylaws, guidelines, whatever else you may want to call them, constantly kind of evolve in this space, and what's legal in 3 months may not be legal in 2 months, or vice versa. So, we're going to be particularly delicate with how we react to certain changes and how we go about implementing those. But it's a good question. It's a question that we get asked a lot, and it's something that I'll give you a little bit better answer with as the state of Florida gets closer to amending, or they've amended the law, but actually allowing the different different levels and different opportunities for interaction. Let's see how much. Okay, not gonna go there. Unfortunately, I see a couple questions directed towards Rob DeLoach, and we were fortunate enough to speak with Rob, but we did have to record this about an hour and a half before the show, so that won't be something that we can provide him with like lifetime answers. Great to see a lot of familiar names in the chat, Mike Myrick and others that have long been supporters of the Battles In. We appreciate that. Did have a question, actually, that a friend of mine had texted me earlier today, who's one of the more informed people about on NIL, but I thought if he's asking a question, then it's probably something that I could speak of on tonight. So the D1 Council has, they haven't voted yet, but they've chosen to take the vote. That would shrink the transfer portal window from 45 to 30 days. This is not dissimilar to what they did in the secondary transfer window that happens in April or May. And that was previously 45 days, or excuse me, that was previously 30 days, and I believe was shrunk to 15, and shrinking a window from 45 days to 30 days, I think is great. I mean, look, you still have plenty of opportunity for movement and mobility, but you know, 45 days is a long time to have a window open. It's a window that is challenging for everybody. If they wanted to continue to shrink these windows and then maybe add a third or something like that, that would be something that, you know, I'd be all for. I just think these super long windows, super long opportunities for, you know, whatever may transpire in them. I think the more opportunities that we have for kids who want to move, who can move, is great. But just these long-winded windows, I don't know, serve anybody, and I'm not sure that by shrinking them you really limit or curtail an athlete's ability to change. So I would be all for it, and I'm, you know, for some of these changes that we've seen more recently. Just in the general sports conversation, also want to continue to highlight the great work that our friends at Florida State Golf have done. Now, this is not necessarily an interest or a reflection of existing athletes, but two former Florida State golfers did absolute work this weekend with Frederick Cuttrup and John Pack, both experiencing wins this weekend, and it is the first time that two PGA Tour University alumni have won on the same weekend. So great stuff to continue to see the evolution of Florida State golf. John Pack is super involved in the program. I've had a chance to meet him a couple times, and great to see him continuing to have the professional success that he has. So we will get ready to have Rob DeLoach join us here momentarily. Kevin, if you're ready for that, we can go ahead and roll that out. Beforehand, we'll always point out the corporate partners that we have and the fortunate relationships that we've been able to have both with Social House Vodka and with Cambria Tequila, that is the Battles In Tequila that they put on. We'll continue to prominently feature these partnerships and others. We have another one that we're excited to announce that I think at this point we're just going to announce after the 4th of July, but opportunities for you to support the Battles In and also enjoy high quality liquor. So big thanks to Cambria and Social House. And Kevin, if you've got the conversation with Rob DeLoach ready, we will jump into that now. All right, joining us tonight is a very special guest, Mr. Rob DeLoach of Savannah, Georgia, has made time for us kindly enough, sir. Really appreciate you making time for us. Great to see you again, my friend, and just excited to hear how you guys are doing, how your son's doing, and what it is that you're up to currently.
Thanks for having me. I just talked to Kalen probably about 10 minutes ago. and told him that I was going to, joining you today. So he said to tell you hello, and he's doing well. I'm currently babysitting his Frenchie dog. That I'm not a dog guy, but since he's in training camp, I'm stuck with babysitting the dog.
That's funny. I don't know. I know Jordan Travis had he didn't ever. What did he have last year? That was the Jeter that was always running around. I saw a lot of Jeter, but didn't realize Kalen had a dog in tow as well.
Yeah, he said it helps keep him calm.
Okay. All right. Well, no, it's been great to see some of the things that is now Tampa Bay Buccaneer teammates have said about Kalen, but it appears as though he's transitioned in well to the NFL game, and always there's times where being an undrafted free agent can be advantageous as far as choosing the roster that you go and the ability to make a roster. And I know he's doing well, and he's caught the attention of his teammates. But anything else you can just tell us as far as where your son is right now and how he's adjusted to adjusted to going through the process of being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer?
Well, first of all, I think he's having fun, and I think Coach Novell and his staff has prepared him very well for the next level. Everybody in that room that's associated with Florida State coaching staff. I don't know if you guys knew, but they were down there maybe 2 weeks after Kalen ended up down in Tampa. Him and Coach Shannon showed up to one of the practice, so that made him feel really good about them being there. So he's having fun. I think he's learning the business that it's not college anymore. Everything is pretty much on him, and from what I can tell, he's adjusting well. I don't talk to him much because even in college, I showed up to the games as a dad and my wife just to be supportive. And it's kind of the same thing here. If he needs something, normally he'll call. But he's finding his way around Tampa, and from the things that I've read, he's just being Kalen.
So how's the whole family doing? I mean, it was truly a pleasure to be able to get to know you and your wife, and obviously your son is a great athlete in his own right. And some of my favorite memories from last year, your son being all 6'9" or 6'10" that he is, and standing on the first row of the Clemson game and wearing a T-shirt that let all the Clemson fans know he's not one to be tried today. But no, just it was the opportunity to spend time around you guys last year, and it was just incredible. And how's the DeLoach unit as a family doing currently?
Everybody's doing well. I was just in Chicago 2 weeks ago with JJ. He's transitioning well at Loyola Chicago. Coach is very excited about him joining the team. Coach Valentine is he's a young basketball coach and very energetic, just like JJ. So I think it's a good match for him getting away and actually puts in position for the NBA draft, because all that stuff is done in Chicago. So I think it's a great move for him. Taylor's doing very well. She's working for Synergy Technical out of Richmond, Virginia, and she's located and working out of Raleigh. So she's finance, accounts payable, working for the company, just doing what Taylor does. And then here's Kalen. Me on the other hand, we started out with the factory in 2017. Preparing kids for the next level to weightlifting and mental training. But I saw a need to create a new platform, which I started the first year, called the Factory 2.0, and it's basically focused on kids that don't play sports. And I had my first camp this past weekend. We had about 50 to 60 kids that came out and participated in engineering, animation, AI, mechanical engineering, computer engineering. And I brought in engineers from Eastern Michigan University that participated in this event. I had Xavier Charles, who actually works for Synergy Technical, that came up from Tampa, and a host of other people that came from like Richmond, Virginia, and Atlanta, Georgia, to help put on this camp. So it was a great opportunity to expose kids to something different here in my community.
So I've always loved the videos, and you see you telling everybody that the factory is not for everybody, and kids working out at 6 a.m. and everything else. But now you got something to, basically this is what sounds like a STEM initiative for kids that aren't necessarily athletes, or maybe you are an athlete too, but this is another avenue that you can pursue. And when I saw you were doing that, I mean, Look, it's no secret that I think the world of you and just thoroughly enjoy communicating with you. But when I saw you were doing that, I was excited to be able to, touch base with you, if nothing else, to learn more about it and for you to be able to talk to people as to what the Factory 2.0 looks like exactly.
Yeah, it was new for me. I played basketball and football and baseball and things like that, and I've coached sports. But I wanted to learn, with the kids, like I say, that don't actually play sports, and just kind of get in their mind and how I can help them develop, get to places, or, start businesses, or actually work for, companies that may have some interest in them. So we had quite a few testimonies from kids who wanted to be pilots. We had some that wanted to be mechanical engineers. It was just wonderful, and it was all about them. And I just sat there and kind of learned and laughed and had fun with the kids.
So you had 3 children play significant, big time sports. You had a daughter that ran track at Ohio State, a son that played football at Florida State, and
the Ohio State.
The Ohio State University. That pains me to say that, but yes, the Ohio State University, and then a son that's played for a couple of different programs of significance. What was that just like for you as a parent to see 3 different children go through the process and how that's evolved, and then ultimately, I don't know that your daughter necessarily played college sports in the era of NIL, but what has that been like for you and your wife to go through that and see that evolution be added to the college sports menu, so to say?
Well, part of it, Ingram, most people here in Savannah know that I really never worried about my kids. I always worried about the kids that didn't have a Rob DeLoach or Ivy DeLoach, and just kind of just opened up some doors for them to, if the sports was something that you wanted to do, and I had an opportunity to help you, that I would, create resources to make sure that you were successful along with my kids. I just got a text from Akeem Byrd, and he said, I'm in the NFL now. He played at Wake Forest. He got injured, 2 ACLs. They took care of him, and now he's a player engagement coach for the Minnesota Vikings. I just got a text not 2 minutes ago. So when you have kids that you've had an opportunity to impact, it's a blessing. So I always want to be that guy that reaches out and gives back to the community. For kids that the parents may be working 2 jobs to try to take care of them. But for me, it's just all about sacrifice, and I want them to have the same opportunity as my kids.
Understand. How do you see that NIL's impacted college sports? What was your experience as a father who saw, your son commit to Florida State in a period of time where NIL wasn't around, wasn't out there, and then obviously last year NIL was in its 2nd or 3rd year of kind of its evolution, and just the impact that it had on you and your family as this thing has kind of made its way through the sport and become a little bit more of a mature process.
Well, part of it, Ingram, we have to put in perspective. Kids who had good grades in high school and went on to college, they've been getting NIL forever. The guys that play sports are just playing catch up, because there are 77 academic scholarships to 1 athletic scholarship. So when you're talking about kids that are smart, there are plenty of scholarships for them, and you see they don't have to go to practice or anything. But as we transition to the athletes, I think it's a great thing for them. Not only the NIL, but the transfer rule benefits everybody, because basketball and football are the only 2 sports that actually, if you're playing it, that you have to sit out. And we know why, because those are the ones that generate the most revenue. But I think it's a great opportunity for kids and for parents and for the universities to be on an even playing field, across the board.
Have you spoken with Gregory Bethune or the Bethune family at all recently?
Yeah, I talked to Greg over the weekend. He was in Tampa helping clean out Tatum's apartment. Kellen went to Tallahassee this weekend as well. And Tatum is doing well out in San Francisco. He's out there with the Bosa guys who he went to high school with. He's out there with Renato. So, Tatum is going to be fine as well. And Greg and I talk at least 3 times a week. Nothing has changed as far as our relationship.
It was fantastic to see the relationship that the DeLoach and Bethune family formed last year, and great to hear that y'all are still in communication with each other. It doesn't come as a surprise at all, but great to hear. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, Rob, if there's ever anything I can ever do for you, my man, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Getting to know you has truly been a blessing. I appreciate your time tonight and wish you the best of luck with everything that you're doing. Kalen might be one of the more beloved Seminoles that's worn a garnet and gold recently. So, know that everybody in this neck of the world has y'all's back 100%, and can't wait to see what you guys do.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. And like I say, anytime I'm available, if I can help in any way that I can, don't hesitate to call or reach out.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir.
All right, bud. All right. So, yeah, that was it was great to be able to talk with Rob DeLoach and just connect with a guy that I hold in exceptionally high regard, but also just to hear the stories that he has with other parents from that team, and how he, still communicates, and you're never going to see a more loving or supportive father, but also a guy that just kind of keeps his distance and is there for Kalen as needed. And I just think the world of Rob, and awesome to hear that he's doing, for those that aren't familiar, he's done this thing called The Factory for years, where he helps athletes get ready for high college or high level competition, whether that be high school or college or whatever else. And awesome to see him branch into something different with the STEM initiative there and some of the educational opportunities that the Factory 2.0 may bring the youth of Savannah. We'll have information and ways to support Rob and the Factory 2.0 of the show notes, and would encourage anybody that has continued interest in learning more about what Rob is doing to look there. So got a couple questions here that I missed in the first part of the show that we'll run through, and then call it a night and be back for you here next week. Also having some construction going on in the building that we're in, and so just going to have to ask that you guys bear with that, and we'll try to limit the noise that comes through on your end as much as we can. So first question, what are some of the common misconceptions about NIL that you'd like to address? Yeah, well, I mean, as NIL is out there longer and more people have familiarity with it, I think some of the misconceptions go away. And hopefully it's through efforts like these shows and other attempts to be open with people that we can bring a little bit more transparency to this. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot that goes on with NIL. Our approach may be slightly different than other schools, but, we've tried to make this more than just a paycheck, more than just a contract. And we have tried to, give kids lessons that will serve them later in life. It's not just an attempt to get a kid on campus for X amount of months or whatever else. The people that made the Battles End possible were adamant that we do this in a manner that we try to have as positive impact on both the student athlete and those around him, whether it be his family, nuclear family or siblings or whatever else, and give them a platform of which to use this to jump off into life. And it may be to go play in the NFL. It may be to do something else. So, another question we have here is, can you discuss any recent partnerships or endorsements that the TBE has facilitated for Florida State athletes? Yeah, great question here. And I have a couple. I'm not trying to be shy or coy or whatever else. I have a couple that we'll be announcing here in the very near future. Have a trading card partnership that I really look forward to announcing with a company that has done significant high quality work in the space, and you'll be able to get team Florida State trading card packs, and we're in the process of facilitating that and bringing that to market right now. We are working on a series of announcements in which we will attempt to bring to you, and some of those will be available in the next 10 days. Some of them may not be announced until, September 1st or the beginning of the football season. Third question here. How can Florida State and the Battles End stay ahead of the curve in the ever-changing NIL landscape? Yeah, I mean, so the simple answer to this is we can continue to have the wonderful amount of support that we've had. If you're a member of the Battle's End and, maybe your best friend who's a lifelong Florida State fan isn't, any kind of support or word of mouth marketing that you can give to try to support those around you to join the Battle's End. And, also we have to continue to, to an extent, staying ahead of the curve is continuing to do the things that we've chosen to focus on in day one and continue to facilitate a legitimate and authentic relationship with the athletes that we work with all the other stakeholders in the space. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can do all you can to try to predict what modification of state laws that might happen or where the NCAA may change guidance on a certain subject matter. But the core principles of what you're doing, doesn't matter how well you predict some of the changes that are going on. If you're not doing things the right way and you're not fortunate enough to have a great team with you as you go about doing them, then it doesn't really matter. We're going to continue to focus on that of what we've tried to focus on since day one. We are not a big major battleship in terms of like how long it takes us to change direction or ideas. So from that end, if there's some kind of landscape that dramatically shifts as far as the availability of when we can interact with athletes or have athletes under contract or whatever else, I'm fully confident that we have the team that will allow us to do that. But we have to continue to do right by the athletes that we partner with, and we have to continue to try to reach out to this fan base and find people that can join us in our pursuit of doing so. So, great question about what we've got to do to try to stay ahead of the curve. I don't know that I, gave you some kind of dynamic answer, but that's the best one that I can give you. Another question, I believe, come up here. So, we do have a group that we're really excited to announce that we're working with, and this is a group called Grassroots Coffee. They are someone that approached us a little bit of time ago. They make a great product. It's something that we're really excited about, and we're proud and excited about tequila and vodka and other things, but we also want to, partner with people and bring you partnerships that are reflective of something that is of everyday life or, 5 days a week or whatever else it may be. So, almost every office in the country orders some kind of coffee. We're really excited about Grassroots, great company, good people, but also, and this is important, they have a license and rights existing relationship with the university, which I know just from the general fan base may not seem like a big deal or may not something that immediately jumps out to you, but it means that we can have official marks and other things on the packaging that just help to make relationships like these much more significant. So we'll continue to have more information on that, but I did see a question in the chat. I believe that's something that we've had on the website for a couple of days now. So I'm guessing where that came from. James B with the super chat. James, awesome to see you a couple of days ago. Appreciate all the support that you have provided both the Battle's End and our friends at Seminole Boosters. James was in town for the signing of the Beam event that many a supporter of Seminole Boosters and those who chose to purchase tickets on the west side of the stadium were offered invitation to a really cool event there. And James is a diehard Seminole, great supporter of the Battle's End and many other Florida State-related causes. And thank you so much for your support tonight, James. So we have one final question that I'll touch on. So Morgan asks, how closely does TBE get to work with the coaching staff and personnel department at Florida State? Does Mike Norvell get to communicate with NIL leadership, or is that not allowed? I mean, I I don't trouble Mike Norvell with a whole lot. I don't think he wants to hear from me a ton. We have relationships with people in the in the broader ecosystem to make sure that we're all trying to do what we can in the most appropriate manner. But I don't bother Coach Norvell and don't call him and whatever else. So we have a level of communication that we think is appropriate and effective. One of the things that has made us successful in this space, in my opinion, is that we have very defined channels of communication and who talks with who about what, and that has helped bring simplicity to an event to an arena that can have some confusion. So great question, Morgan. Hope I answered it for you in as good of a manner as I can. And we're approaching the end of tonight's show. Want to thank Rob DeLoach for joining us. Again, we'll have more information about Rob and the Factory 2.0. The whole DeLoach family are just awesome people, great people. And again, one of the highlights for me of 2023 was getting to know the DeLoach family, and then just also seeing, being able to ask Kalen before the season even started last year, what it would be like to score a touchdown on defense and then be able to create content based off that play, and ask Kalen what he would do if he scored a touchdown, and then talked about running and taking the ball to his dad. And then we got to see that play out. And then we also got to see a lot of people drilling on the floor above us. So I think it's a good time for us to wrap this show up as the construction noises seem to become more frequently. This is designed to be a 30-minute show. We're 35 minutes into it. Appreciate the support. This has been show 3. We'll have show 4 to you next week with another guest. And if you have questions for us, feel free to email over the course of the week. If you're a member, we'd love to get those and get a pattern of answering member questions each week. I'm Ingram, from everybody associated with the Battle's End. Thank you so much for your support. We'll be back with you next week. Till then, go Noles.